Rome came to Egypt, and a Roman general basically said, you've got to withdraw, and forced Antiochus IV to pull out of Egypt. Why did Rome do that? Well, Rome didn't want any other empire in the Mediterranean to get too powerful. So they wanted they didn't want to really control all the eastern part of the Mediterranean at this time. They would have been stretched too thin. But they wanted these two kingdoms to balance each other out. So they weren't particularly for Antiochus IV. They just didn't want him to destroy the Egyptian Ptolemies and him to take over Egypt because it would make him too powerful. So Rome, though, shows that they have enough power that they can kind of play the referee between different kingdoms, even in the east at this time. While Judea, though, was under Antiochus' control, a lot of Jews tried to figure out, how do you deal with this whole process of Hellenization? In other words, if you want your own kids to get ahead in the world in this time, and you're going to have an elite family yourself in a town, in a city, it makes sense for your kids to get a Greek education. You want your sons, for example, to be able to speak and read and write Greek. Why? Because that's the lingua franca of the elite, of the business and of government and all that sort of thing. It's precisely the way it is now with English around the world. Elite families want their kids to have English education. They want them to be familiar with American culture, and if possible, they'll even send them to a university in the States or to graduate school in the States. And this is partly because there are good universities in the States, but it's also partly because they know that to get ahead, their kids need to use English. They need to become, in some sense, to some extent, Americanized. This is what's going on even in places like Jerusalem at this time. Jerusalem wasn't a huge city, but it was important enough that there were elites there themselves, and so when they responded to this urge of Hellenizing culture to have their kids educated in the gymnasium, remember, so they would themselves get this sort of Greek rhetorical education. In fact, what we'll call, for the purposes, liberals and conservatives in Jerusalem, because there was conflict in Jerusalem at this time over how much Hellenization you should go along with. Apparently, a majority of the priests and the lay nobility supported the Hellenizing group, that is the Jewish leaders who wanted to bring more Hellenization into Jerusalem itself. The high priest at this time was named Jason. His name was on here. And in 175, he built a gymnasium in Jerusalem. Why did he build a gymnasium in Jerusalem? Well, if you're going to have Greek education, you have to have a gymnasium. He also founded a Greek polis, that is a Greek city structure. And Jason apparently paid Antiochus for the privilege of having Jerusalem recognized as a Greek city. This would have consolidated the power of those Jewish leaders who wanted to press Greek culture more, rather than those Jewish leaders who wanted to hold back on Greek culture.